I have something for you today that I think you're really going to enjoy. Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's daughter, who is often in positions of power in terms of being a spokesperson or representative for the position of the Trump administration, you might remember is unelected. She's not been elected to anything. She's not confirmed by the Senate. She would actually be precluded from holding an official position because of anti-nepotism laws. She often sits in official government conversations. She was recently interviewed by her own spokeswoman, a State Department spokeswoman, a complete and total farce meant to create the appearance of accountability and of transparency and of answering questions from the press. Imagine if I was in some kind of scandal. It could happen, right? And I said, I am going to subject myself to questioning. I will be transparent. I am going to explain to you what I did and why I did it, and I will be held to account. And I will let the press talk to me. And then it's like my own staff that interviews me, right? You would say, what the hell are you doing? How is this transparency? So Ivanka goes to the Doha Forum in Doha, Qatar, or Qatar, as Tucker Carlson calls it. Big announcement that she would be speaking. It's already sort of like, why is she going to be speaking? But okay, she's going to be speaking. This immediately created an uproar of questions. What is she doing in Qatar? Is this some kind of signal to the royal family about something of some kind? Is Jared Kushner going? Of course, Jared Kushner's connections to the region are problematic at best and downright corrupt at worst. But then she shows up. The room is filled with officials from all over the world, actual officials being interviewed by real journalists, asking actual questions about policy and issues. It's a forum actually known for tough interviews. Lindsey Graham was there. He got into a whole thing with a real journalist about impeachment, for example. The Rwandan president was asked about term limits, which is an immediate and very real issue in Rwanda. The president there, I believe it's Paul Kagame, I believe. So in comes Ivanka Trump to be interviewed, and the interviewer is Morgan Ortagus. That's the same person I just quoted in the last segment who told us why the Trump administration is not going to be recognizing the Armenian genocide as a genocide. Morgan is the current State Department spokesperson and a former Fox News contributor, and she throws Ivanka utter softball questions. For example, you were able to put women's prosperity into the national security strategy. That was so important to me that you did that, and I'd love for you to explain that. Whoa, transparency. Wow, Ivanka's really going to have to account for... Oh, right, it's bogus. Speaking of travels, you've been in Morocco recently. Can you tell us more about the trip and highlights? Oh, well, we rode camels and I met some business owners. Another question. You also returned on a swing through Latin America with our Deputy Secretary of State, John Sullivan. Can you tell us about some of your impressions? Oh, it's so vibrant and blah. What can everyone here that's representing the private sector do? Yeah, that's a really hard-hitting issue. And with all of the successes of the initial launch, what are you doing to ensure that this lasts much beyond your time in the White House? A Russian journalist said at the event, even Vladimir Putin doesn't get interviewed by his own press secretary. This is how what are effectively monarchs, this is how monarchs are groomed, right? In this case, Ivanka sort of the equivalent to the queen's daughter, or even the queen, right? I mean, unelected, unconfirmed by a legislative body, incompletely over her head. This is how you groom monarchs. Controlled audiences, controlled questions, calculated faux transparency, biased press conferences with softball questions. Would never have a role in government were it not for her dad. Not to mention, remember that the Trump kids said they were going to try to stay out of politics at the start of Trump's presidency. That ship has obviously long sailed. She's basically asking herself questions. This is a crafted, fake interview with the spokeswoman that she traveled there with. Now, here's my question. Is this an attempt to look important? Like, is this an ego thing for Ivanka Trump? Is this because she simply couldn't handle a real, serious interview? Is this because the people at the State Department realized that she shouldn't be there at all? And this is how they protect their own image by making sure that she doesn't embarrass the State Department by virtue of being asked real questions by actual journalists. My question is, who do you think decides that this is what they are going to do and what is going to be done? And at what point is it decided and for what purpose? Let me know by replying if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, or send me a tweet at @dpakman. The next video is coming soon, but before you go to that, please hit subscribe and like. We're running a test. We believe that if everybody does this, this will hugely boost us in YouTube's algorithm, and then everybody wins. I'll report back to you how this works. Make sure before you go on to that next video, hit subscribe, hit like. Thank you so much.